Most seven-figure business owners are still paying a full ops team to do work that Claude can now run for a fraction of the cost. Last month, I helped a business that did $581K save 30 hours a week that were going to waste with just one Claude system. In this video, I'm going to show you how I built this system live. Cool, well, let's jump right into it. I want to kind of just give you guys a quick walkthrough of what the overall framework looks like for an AI operating system or an AI OS, some call it, name it what you want. And I kind of want to give you guys that full step-by-step process of what it looks like to create one that's not just quickly slapped together. There's tons of moving parts in terms of creating one that doesn't just work efficiently, but also is very accurate and consistent is I think the right word when it comes to building a good or a great AI operating system, right? So I want to walk you guys through the key components, first being really the base layer, right? Or one of the most important parts. I think calling this the base layer is actually the worst thing you could possibly do, because this is the most important portion of building any AI agent, any AI OS, is the knowledge base, right? So your single source of truth. Your AI only really is as smart as the knowledge base that's behind it, right? If you have no knowledge base, it's really essentially like a shitty chatbot that you guys really just have put together that can break at any point, any time, right? So the stronger the knowledge base, the better. Everything reads from one knowledge base, and that's really what overall makes it a system, not just a bunch of disconnected tools. From there, I wanted to kind of walk you guys through a little bit more behind it, right? So as I mentioned, your AI is only as smart as the knowledge base behind it. I'll say this a million times. With one super strong knowledge base, it'll also answer better than any employee that you've ever had, and also every single time. So like I mentioned earlier on, the word consistency is super important when it comes to building these AI operating systems and AI agents, right? So anything that has to do with any company SOPs, any frequently asked questions, any refund and access policies. If you guys are selling some sort of product, if you have a client that sells some sort of product, I have tons of clients specifically within the e-learning niche that sell high-ticket education offers, curriculums, right? So you want to feed your knowledge base every single part of your business's information, so then it builds that strong foundation, right? That base layer that isn't broken at any point, any time. And that'll help with the consistency once again, in terms of, answering questions to people that are reaching out, whatever it may be, really. And so this is one of the biggest components that I think a lot of businesses, from at least what I've seen, have missing, right? So companies have, their SOPs in one place. They have tons of information on Notion, some information on Slack. Some people, believe it or not, still even pen and paper. These old blue collar business owners are still doing it the way they were doing it 50 years ago, right? So you really want to compile as much information as possible, whether that means sit down and meet with every single person that works at this company to get as much information as you can possible to build, again, that strong knowledge base. You've got to do it. Right? Do what you can, do what you need to do to ensure that that knowledge base is as strong as possible. And once that information is all compiled together, you want to put it into one solid organized document or file to, again, feed that to any AI operating system or any AI agent that you'll be building, whether it's for yourself or again, for a client. Sweet. So from there, I want to walk you guys through the architecture of any AI operating system or any AI agent, right? There's really three ways the system acts. One being the triggers, two being the automations, three being the agents, right? So to kind of dive a little bit deeper within each one of these moving parts is essentially the way a trigger is working is when X happens, do Y, right? So let's just say a new purchase comes through, you're using some sort of payment processing platform, and you have a trigger set to when someone buys this product, they automatically get access or grant access to this tool, right? So that's one example. Secondly, an automation, right? So automations are something that runs on a clock. It's scheduled work that no one touches, so it's something that's happening automatically. Whether it's, every Sunday you want to follow up with people that haven't made their up-to-date payment and they have a payment failed or there's a missed payment, right? Third of all, again, the agents, right? So a conversational agent, you have the ability to, ask any questions, whether it's like a frequently asked question, you want to reach out to a company and you have an AI agent support rep that's replying via email, right? So those are the three moving parts when it comes to the way an AI operating system acts. Triggers, automations, agents, right? These are all essentially what the entire architecture looks like, right? And so every piece of operations a business does, it fits into at least one of these boxes. And again, more importantly, to go back to the beginning of this video, is all of this information is being pulled from that knowledge base that's being built as step one, right? So again, ensure that the knowledge base is good. Once that knowledge base is set in place, it's built as strong as possible. And also you have the ability to build the knowledge base as you move forward, right? So once the knowledge base is given as much information as possible, right, you can set it up in a way where as it does work, as let's just say a trigger setup or an automation setup or an agent setup, this AI operating system is saving all the information that's done in the past into its knowledge base. So it knows how to reply, how not to reply, what questions it may be getting automatically. So automatically it's replying, right? So I want to walk you guys through really what the workflow looks like. So let's dive into what it looks like. I've built tons of different, AI operating systems for tons of different businesses, whether it's something that has to do with sales, whether it's something that has to do with fulfillment, whether it's something that has to do with operations. One use case that I feel like can be super valuable in any business that you're getting started with as a client, or whether you're putting this into your own business, right, to save tons of time, is an instant support rep. So someone that's managing the email inbox, rather than having someone that is, sitting there and replying to the same questions over and over again, right? You can have an AI agent built within this AI operating system to essentially manage that. So one that I built for a client is essentially, this is kind of how it's set up and how it's working, right? So when a message comes in, let's just say a customer asks a question by email, chat, or DM, or it may be a student or a client, whatever it may be, the AI agent's going to automatically go back to that knowledge base, find the correct information, on-brand answer from that source of truth, and within seconds, it's automatically going to reply. Accurate, in the company's voice, it's working 24/7, 365, there's no queue, there's no waiting for a response, and also, more importantly, they're guardrails, right? So this is one of the most important portions that you want to ensure that you have included within any AI operating system is guardrails, right? You don't want an AI to just be let loose and to say and do whatever it wants, especially when it comes to customer interactions, right? And so you have it set up in a way where there's guardrails. So let's just say there's a refund request, right? You don't want the AI agent, or let's just say there was someone there's an angry customer as an example that reaches out, or a refund request once again. You don't want an AI replying to this information, as it's a sensitive topic, right? So you want to ensure that the response to these people aren't just unique, but it's more so just to ensure that the reply and response that's being given to these people is something that's accurate, protected, and something that they'd like to hear, rather than letting the AI go in and take place. Not that it can't do it, but more so to have, whether it's a CEO or someone who's running the company's operations, have eyes on this scenario instead of it just, letting loose and doing what it wants whenever it wants. So here's a quick example of kind of what that support agent looks like that I was talking about, that lives within one of my clients' inboxes, right? So within this AI operating system, this is one moving part, is this support agent that manages their entire email inbox. There's not a single person that sits here and ever replies to emails anymore, right? So there's hundreds of emails that are coming in throughout the week, most of them being based off of that those frequently asked questions that are built into the knowledge base. So then this AI agent that's handling support emails can reply, automatically without having to think twice, right? So here's a quick example. An email came in at 9:36 a.m. from James Mitchum, right? As an example, right? He wanted some information. He wanted to see what was going on, asking for a recommendation. From there, about, let's just say, 30 minutes later, our AI agent automatically replies, right? So it has some excitement, it gives some recommendation based off of what we recommend to what that person was asking. It also includes how to set up exactly what this person was asking, right? And so this is what their response was. Hey, support, perfect. This is exactly what I needed. I appreciate the help. Boom. Automatically done, right? So this is being done automatically with this AI agent that's built in specifically, again, to manage this email inbox, and all the information that it gets to reply to people, or reply to this person or any other person that's reaching out, is again built in within the company's knowledge base. So knowledge base. I will not mention that enough. The stronger the knowledge base, the more accurate, the better the replies will be. And honestly, these replies that are coming from this support agent are better than any human replies that I've ever seen via email, whether it's someone that's emailed me or someone that's emailed me from a different company when I've reached out for support. And so this kind of just shows what the potential is while, building these different moving parts within an AI operating system. Well, I just gave you guys a quick glimpse of kind of what it looks like living in my client's support inbox. And now I want to give you guys a quick rundown of how it looks like building this agent from scratch, right? And it really takes two main things. Number one, like I mentioned early on in this video, is ensuring that you've created a strong knowledge base when it comes to building any sort of agent for your business. And so again, compiling as much information as possible about your company. And so what I did is I went ahead and created a quick document, actually using Claude to create a quick knowledge base, that one single source of truth for my business, Revo. So anything about who we serve, what we do, our SOPs, whatever it may be, to ensure that the agent has the right information when it comes to answering any question from, any potential client or any support question. And so what you'll want to do is you want to compile that document, put together that information, and you want to take it and directly drop it into Claude, right? And from there, you want to prompt Claude in a way where you tell it that it is now a support rep, right, for Revo, and any incoming questions you need to answer with the information that you have in this knowledge-based document. Great, so it's loaded in Revo's knowledge base. It's ready to already act as its support agent, answering any incoming questions. It has guardrails, and so you also want to ensure, like I mentioned earlier, is to ensure that you're giving your agent, any agent that you're building, guardrails, right? You don't want to just let it loose. You don't want it to just be able to say and do what it wants. And so what I always do when it comes to creating agents on the forefront that's, conversational, that's replying to, customers or people, is I want to make sure that when I first create the agent, it goes to some sort of testing, right? So what I'll do within like the first few days is I'll make sure that it's creating just drafts and it's not on auto send. So what I'll mention is, hey, make sure that we create drafts only for now, and once I trust you, we can run on auto mode. And so what this will do is it'll create drafts directly in your inbox as replies to those people. And so anytime a question comes in, it'll just automatically be in that draft section in your email inbox rather than auto sending. And so what this does is, as it creates more responses, you go in and you correct it, say, hey, this is incorrect, this is correct. And it saves that information, again, within its knowledge base. And so as time moves forward within, I'd say, 3 to 5 days, where it knows enough information, depending, of course, on the influx of support emails that are coming into the inbox, it'll build a strong knowledge base and it'll know how and what to say or reply to people, right? So from there, you could let it on auto mode. And so let's just test it out. So with the knowledge base that I gave it, I can ask it a question, right? So, hey, I decided I want to cancel my service. Can I get a refund? And so what it's going to do is it's going to, again, take this information that it's received. It's going to go back to that knowledge base document and it'll reply with the information that it has. And so, as I mentioned, when it comes to specifics that are situations that need to be flagged for a human to come in. And so the guardrails that I've set is anything that has to do with refund policies, money, is I want it to directly reach out to a human. And so it creates this draft response where it says, hi there, thanks for reaching out. Sorry to hear that, you're thinking about canceling. I want to make sure that this is handled properly. So I'm going to loop in a real member or a member of the Revo team who follow up with you directly on both the cancellation and refund question, where then you could come in and you could take that in case it's a scenario where it's, there's something that may be, escalated or flagged. And so this is kind of how it'll run. And from there, you'll be able to directly connect the agent to your email inbox. And so the way you'll want to do it is you'll come here, right? You could go down into your settings. You could go to connectors right down here. And from there, Claude gives you multiple options on what you can connect to. And so as you see here, I have a couple different tools what I'm connected to. And so Gmail, this will directly connect my Claude Cowork to my Gmail. And so it'll has the ability to see incoming emails, reply accordingly. Sweet, so that's kind of what the support rep looks like. I want to dive into really kind of the effect and the impact, right? So what the before and after looks like with adding something as simple as a support rep into, your AI operating system, right? And so here's some before and afters, right? So before the support rep was inputted into the business's workflows, right? Emails were being left in, unanswered, especially when you're running a program in which you're receiving hundreds of emails at once, right? You want to reply as quick as possible. The replies are super slow. People are reaching out, people are sending double or triple emails. Why am I not getting a response? Sometimes, one person that's running their support email is saying one thing, and another person who's also working and handling support is saying another thing, right? Where it causes a lot of confusion. But more importantly, it's the time that's being spent here, right? So something as simple as this is taking hours and hours, 48 plus hours a week from a company that has, of course, an inbox. It's different. It's a different scenario for each business. But if you're receiving hundreds and thousands of emails every single week that mostly are asking the same exact question, right? That shouldn't be something that an actual person's time is being spent on, right? And so this is what the after the system looks like, right? The answers are accurate, running 24/7, 365. The responses are super fast. The retention is amazing in terms of people being happy once they get a positive reply. One source of truth. It's super consistent. The information that's being pulled to answer is being pulled from the same place every single time. And again, it's being built upon. So anytime an answer is being done, it's being noted within the knowledge base. So that information is being held. So when another question comes up down the line and it's the same question, it's automatically going to reply with that same answer, of course, unique to that person, right? So the knowledge is owned by the business forever. It's something that never disappears. It's not like an employee that one day decides to, get up and walk out the door. You can't take their brain and save that information within the business, right? So this knowledge base is something that sticks within the company. And again, it also scales without adding headcount, right? So you're not needing to add more team members. Let's just say the number of emails increase because you're getting, your sales numbers are also increasing. So that means your support increases as well. That doesn't mean you go and hire more people. It has the ability to scale without adding any headcount whatsoever. And so the key takeaway here is really the fact that anyone has the ability to, build or bolt on an AI agent. Super simple, especially with today's technology, right? You go into, Claude Code, you go into Cowork, you give it the prompt, it'll ask you a few feedback questions on what you want to build, and voila, you have an AI agent, right? It's really not as easy as that, because if you're wanting to build something that is super consistent, it's super accurate with the way it responds, is you want to give it the strongest knowledge base possible, right? The knowledge base is the whole game, right? The architecture is simple. The workflows are interchangeable within an AI operating system, but none of it is really going to work without that one single source of truth underneath it, right? And so the businesses that really win when it comes to, creating a successful operating, an operations flow, or a successful operating team, or now with AI in place, a successful AI operating system, are the ones that did like that unglamorous work that no one ever wants to do, of writing down what they know first, right? So before you jump into it, before you start building, gather as much information as you can possible, whether that means, again, you're sitting down with team members on, the sales front, on the support front, on, you're sitting down with the CEO, you're sitting down with, the person that's currently handling operations, maybe, and gathering as much information as possible to compile that together to, again, build that one solid source of truth and that knowledge base to then successfully build all the other moving parts of an AI operating system. The most, and kind of like the best thing about this is when you have a strong knowledge base, you can use that same knowledge base for that business and for that client to build any other AI operating system. It doesn't just have to be a support agent. It could be literally anything that you want it to be, whether it's someone who's creating content for a client, or whether it's someone that's, a sales AI agent, right? And so again, the knowledge base is the whole game. And so if you guys are wanting to see the other moving parts of AI operating systems that I built for other clients, whether it's on the sales front, on the content front, on the marketing front, whatever it may be, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'd love to put out some more videos in terms of all the other parts of these AI operating systems that I've built for clients. Thank you again. Cheers.